Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's having a good day today. Hello. How's everyone doing today? I don't know why I did that camera. I meant to do, is it this one? No. No. Oh, okay. That was weird. I have shortcuts set up, but they're, just like simple keyboard shortcuts. Anyways, hope everyone's having a good day today. Camera, you are driving me crazy today. Why? All right. Just need to clean off my palette real quick, and I can get started. I don't know what's going on with my camera today. Well, actually, I should rephrase that. I changed some parameters, so maybe that's what's going on. Tried to make it better, but I may have succeeded in the opposite. So in case anyone's wondering, I have a glass palette and I'm using a razor scraper to clean it off. It's usually good enough, but if it's ever too hard, you can also use what's called rubbing alcohol. That will help loosen things up. But it's not, definitely not mandatory. Sometimes changing the angle of the blade helps too. And also, honestly, I probably just need to use a new blade at this point because literally cannot remember the last time I replaced it. Had I been smart, I would have put my palette away, and all of this paint probably would have been usable. But I thought I was going to keep painting, and then I didn't. Hey, Des. Welcome. Good to see you. You're here, but you're troubleshooting the modem, so you'll be in and out. Okay. Good luck with the modem. I hate dealing with those things. They suck. I used to have a modem like that I bought, not from the company, not from the internet company. And I'm pretty sure that they made it not work on purpose so that I'd have to sign up for their modem. I don't understand what's going on with my camera. Let me try something real quick because it is like sticking too close to my face. I don't like it. All right, is it going to be even closer? No, I don't like this. I really don't like this. Okay, I think that's better. I think this means the tracking is going to be worse, but at least it's not like so close to my face. Alrighty. It is right there in front of my face, but the reason it needs tracking and all that is because I'm only showing like a small portion of the image, right? So if I did no tracking when I stepped away here, I would be outside of bounds. Does that make sense? Like if, let's see if I can turn it off. Um, let's see. All right. So if I do this, right, as soon as I move, right, like I'm constantly moving out of bounds. But now I'm in bounds, right? Oh, crap. Did I accidentally turn that function back on? Let's see. Yeah, I did. All right. So, okay. So now I was out of bounds before, but I'm still in the shot. And same thing over here. That's what the tracking's for. If it wouldn't zoom at all and would just pan, I would love that. But I haven't figured out how to make that work yet. No, it's dancing. I don't know what to tell you. It's like pulsating, whatever. Anyways, I'm going to mention this early on, even though at the moment there's not a lot of people here. For anybody watching the replay, I have a new workshop. It's an online workshop, and there's a link in the description. You can go straight to it. It is on expressive painting. It's about painting portrait painting with no fear. So teach you all the techniques that I use regularly, and it's 4 sessions. It's in partnership with Sparrow Art Center, and it is honestly very affordable for a workshop. So yeah, highly recommend it. Obviously, I'm teaching it, so I recommend it. But yeah, check it out. Link in the description. Anyways, that was my pitch, my early on pitch, and I'll probably pitch it again towards the end. But yes, I'm really excited about this workshop. I've been working hard on getting everything ready for it, and I still have a lot of things to do for it. I'm going to be putting together homework assignments and giving references and all this stuff. But yeah, it's very, very exciting. Let me try moving this a little bit. I wonder if this will be any better. We'll see. This is a little closer, so we'll see. Anyways. That's annoying. Okay, my earbuds just randomly disconnected and reconnected, so sorry about that. Alrighty. So to start off with, I am going to just mark up some spots that I need to go in and correct some minor things. Overall, this one's actually in a really good spot. Everything's like really in the right place, with a few little minor exceptions. And most of these things are going to be the type of thing that like, what's it called? Uh, like these exceptions happen all the time, so it's not a big deal. Actually, I forgot to test okay, everything's dry. All right, I totally forgot it. Let's take that off real quick. All right, so everything's dry since Sunday, which means I need to oil out before I start marking it up. So I'm just oiling out the whole thing. Normally, if it was a large painting, I probably wouldn't oil out the whole thing unless I knew for sure I was going to be working on everything. Um, but it's such a small painting that I know I'm going to be working on everything pretty much. In case anyone's curious, it's an 8 by 10. To me, that's very, what's it called? Pretty small. Not like very small, but pretty small. You really like the reflected orange? Oh, thanks, Des. I'm glad you do. Yeah, that I actually have a photo of her with her arm, with her hand down, but there's no reflection because the reflection's coming from her hand, and even though it made it, a more complicated painting because I have to paint in the hand and everything, which I actually like painting hands. They can be difficult, but I like them. Uh, it was still worth it. Hey, Corey, good to see you. Looking back in time to see pre-oil out. and after oil out is cool. All right, I'm glad. I mean, it feels like not much happens between those two stages. I use oleo gel to oil out, but you can use linseed oil or walnut oil for that matter. It doesn't really matter. You just want a very small amount of it, very thin layer, just to make it feel slick again, so you don't get like what's it called, dry brush marks and stuff like that. Yeah, you'll see me sometimes when I do oil out larger pieces. I'll be off camera because I'm actually looking at an angle from my light. My light's above, so I have to like get down low to see all the reflection, to see where it's wet and where it isn't. Because otherwise I can't tell where I've oiled out and where I haven't. You agree the hand making that the reflection is so nice on her face. It's very subtle. Yeah. Thanks. I appreciate that. I'm glad you all like the choices. So, like I said, right now I'm just marking some spots that I'm like, things shifted slightly and I need to go in and correct, but it's very minor. I'm really happy with everything. Oh, the oil out is very subtle. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it helps, get away from the dry brush marks. Not that it's always bad to have dry brush marks. It just depends. Just depends. So trying to decide how much I want to. Obviously, I want to finish the painting, but I also want to figure out how much I want to mess up the painting again before I finish it. Because I'm probably going to mess it up a little bit intentionally, like paint some of the background over the foreground and then paint back into it a few more times, like that type of thing, just to help so that it integrate the background a little more. But yeah, Corey says I've missed a lot of your lives. Great to catch up, to catch one again. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. Um, and I appreciate it when people come to the lives, but I don't. It's one of those things. It's like I appreciate it. I enjoy it. I honestly do really. I get a lot out of this as well. I know that they talk about the parasocial thing, but whatever. I don't think I'm big enough to to qualify for that. But I do appreciate it. But I also don't want people to feel obligated. So, but thank you. So you missed me talking about Portrait Society then probably. That was a lot of fun. I don't know that I'll be able to afford to go next year, unfortunately. But I had a great time there. And I do wish I I do really hope I can afford it next year. Maybe they'll what's it called? Maybe they'll invite me, and then it'll be a lot cheaper, right? We can hope or dream or whatever. But yeah, Portrait Society of America was a lot of fun. I met a lot of really cool artists. I'm actually hoping to get some of those artists, not all, because not all. Okay, let me rephrase that. I'd hope to get all of them, but realistically, a lot of them probably aren't into doing like live streams or anything. But some of them might. So I might be able to get some people on as like quote unquote guests. Um, you know, not that I'm like an interview podcast or anything like that, but still, it'd be fun to have some other artists hang out and paint along. You'll definitely watch that one. Very cool. Oh, you mean the one? I'm assuming you mean the one from when I came back. Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I don't mind talking about it again, you know. Uh, thing with live streams, I know a lot of people won't rewatch, so I don't mind. I know that a lot of repeating myself is involved. Uh, that's and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean like I know that's like part of the nature of it, because you're kind of having like the same conversation over and over again with multiple people. So yeah, I don't mind talking about it. It was great. Um, I th Also, I might think of things I didn't think about the first time I talked about it. Like, I think that if I remember correctly, there was like, I think I heard there was like 800 people there, something like that. So it was pretty busy. I mean, it doesn't compare to like Comic-Con or anything like that, but yeah. But yeah, still pretty cool. And like I said before, everyone there was super nice. Um, you know, I feel like I'm sure there's someone there, but generally speaking, like the majority of the people I met there were super nice. And even if they may have not been like always nice, like maybe someone has bad experience with them, everyone was on their best behavior. So, you know, so everyone was just super sweet, super nice, friendly, all around. I did not set up and paint. I didn't bring my paints with me. I went real light and I kind of regretted it. Having said that, there wasn't anywhere to really set up to paint. What people did was um, they basically painted in the hotel lobby where technically they weren't supposed to. Um, and it was in fact discouraged. But people still did it anyways because painters going to paint. Um, and I even got a small painting of me done because so the artist that I'm painting right now, Julia, uh, she actually painted a small portrait of me sitting in the hotel like uh, bar, I guess. Yeah, bar. Yeah. So she just set up there and just painted me, which is really, really cool. And so now I'm returning the favor and I'm doing a portrait of her. Um, Hotel paint-a-thon. Yeah, absolutely. People were painting like crazy. It was people were drawing each other or painting each other in the lobby and in like different places. It was pretty cool. Like I said, I didn't bring my paints with me because they in the emails and everything basically discouraged it. Um, I do kind of regret that. I did bring my iPad, but I'll be honest, I don't really enjoy painting on my iPad anymore. I used to love it, but now I really don't. So you love her palette for my face? Yeah, she did a great job. Especially considering like, first of all, it's very small and horrible lighting. She did it so fast. Like it was great. And I have a link to her Instagram on my in the description. Highly recommend checking her out and following her. Not just because she did my portrait, but because she is a fantastic painter. In fact, there was a at the Portrait Society, they have this thing where it's like a blind auction. And what it is it's these little 6x9 paintings that you can, well, you don't exactly bid, so it's not an auction, it's a flat rate. But the blind part about it is that you don't know who the artist is. So you're buying the painting purely based off of if you like it or not. And I tried to get like 5 different paintings. And the reason I say try is because if multiple people want the painting, it basically becomes a raffle. And so you can get lucky and win it or not. And one of the paintings that I tried to win, and I didn't know this, was her painting. I didn't know this until after the fact, you know. So I didn't get it, unfortunately, but I tried, you know. And just good. And I'm just saying, like, you know, her paintings really are really good. So I recommend checking her out. Her her Instagram. She also does for anyone who's into it, she does a lot of like fantasy stuff and I think if I remember correctly, D&D stuff, and she's doing some things, some projects. I don't know how much she can talk about, but it's for books, for fantasy books. Really cool stuff. And it was funny. One of the people there like was familiar with all the books that she's working on and was just like rattling. They were just talking about all the characters and the names, you know, like they knew the names of all the characters and all the, you know, and the races and all the stuff that they're doing. And I didn't know any of it. I was just like sitting there like completely out of my depth and being like, I really don't know what you guys are talking about. But I'm glad that you are having fun with it. It's about as good as I could do. Wow, you like that format they do based off of what you like and then based off of luck, not the most money. Yeah, no, it's really, really nice. And it's the amount of paintings that they had for that was like, I don't even remember I don't know how many it was, but it's easily like 30 to maybe 50. I don't know. Because what they do is they divide it into like groups of 10 or something like that. And then they go from the first one and they all the groups do it simultaneously, so there's like multiple tables where they're at, and so they go for the first one. Actually, I think there may have been 100. I might be wrong about that, but anyways, there was a lot of them, and so they go based off, you know, the first one. Anyone want it? If no, you know, if only one person raises their hand, they just get it. But most of the time, multiple people would raise their hand, and then it's just a flat fee of like 275, I think it was, which is, you know, not a ton of money, but also, you know, depending on your situation, it's not cheap, but you know, it's still for a painting very well priced. Hey, Don Lee. Don Lee is over in Twitch chat. Welcome, man. How you doing? Good to see you. Don Lee is a streamer over on Twitch. He does mostly digital art, but he does a lot of different kinds of digital art. Highly recommend his streams. He has a lot of fun, and his Twitch stream is Don Lee _O with 3 H's. Took me a second. Yeah. Okay. I thought I got it wrong for a second, but no, I got it right. Alrighty. Yeah, I don't know if I did mention this in my previous stream, but I ended up getting a painting, which I was very lucky to get. So I ended up getting this. So it's, like all of them, it's a 6x9. It's a really good painting. And this is by Shane Wolf, not the director. He's a painter, but he's a really good painter. I was not familiar with his work prior to this, but now I get to discover his work, and I'm really happy I did. Oh, thanks, Donnelly. Thank you. He says it's looking really nice. Appreciate that. Hand holding a curved object, maybe a ring like a gymnast, or up to interpretation. Yeah, I have no idea what he's holding. A gymnast is it's a good one. Could be. Very nice. Love the edges and the rough strokes. Yeah, yeah. There was a few artists that you could tell who that was just based off of how they painted it, or the subject matter, like Kai. Um, he did a Star Wars character, and it was like, yeah, okay, so you're the only one who's going to do a Star Wars character. So everybody knew it was his. But generally speaking, it's really cool. And Shane Wolf did he did a hand he told me this. I don't know this from person, but he told me that the prior year he did a hand as well, and he was worried that people would know it was him, so he like shifted his general palette in so that to throw people off, basically. What do you call a painting of just a hand, a still life or a portrait or what? LOL. That's a very good question. You know, I I'm inclined to call it, in some ways I think that like I think hands can, give off so like there's so much expression that you can do in a hand. Um and sometimes people's hands are very, very unique. Um I'll be honest, I'm tempted to still call it a portrait, or figurative. Uh, yeah, I guess figurative maybe. I'll, Generally, though, I feel like figurative, you want to see more of the figure. Uh, to me, figurative is anything where a person is the main focus, but like you're not like really focused on their face. It's not a portrait. I don't know. Good question. Like this painting that I did, right? I consider this figurative, even though you can kind of see faces in it. Um, you know, Even though you can see faces, I still consider this, figurative, which I think is appropriate. You like the portrait as a category? You're with me? Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's almost appropriate. Don Lee is asking, were the pieces unsigned or up for auction? Or was it a case where you gave up a piece and got a piece? No, no, it was a flat fee. You couldn't see the name of you didn't find out what the artist was until you paid for it. And if more than one person wanted it, then you put your name tag in the bowl, and it was essentially a raffle on the spot for between all the people who wanted it. Um, so that's how it was, and the fee it was 275, and then it with tax and everything it rounded up to like $5 under. It was like 295 or something like that. So. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like in some ways a hand painting could be a portrait. Like there are some where it's so distinct that and it's so specific to that person where I'm just like there it could be nobody else. I guess not always, but yeah. Donnelly says I'd agree it's figurative if you kept the face details fairly minimal, in my opinion. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think so. So I'm gonna just I'm gonna mention I'm really trying to mention this just a couple times so that everybody knows in case people come in the middle. Um, it's real exciting news for me. I'm going to be teaching a workshop. So there is a link in the description on YouTube, and it's a online 4-week workshop for portrait painting and uh, it's fearless portrait painting and expressive portrait painting. That's the concept. So if you can already paint a portrait, but you wanna, you're uh, feel like your paintings are too stiff, you're afraid of making mistakes, you want to be more expressive, all those things, that's what it's for. And it's very well priced. So link in the description. Just gonna throw that out there a couple times because I'm excited and I want enough people to sign up for it. Corey says he's talking about the paintings, well priced, and you got something, and people got something worth 10 times what they paid for it. I bet. Yeah, absolutely. Don Lee is saying, will you be posting on your Insta and Twitter about your course? I already posted on Instagram. I haven't posted on Twitter because I forgot Twitter existed until later. So I forgot. But yes, I already posted on Instagram about it. All right, let's get into actual painting. Thank you, Donley. Alrighty. Now that everything is all marked up, yeah, it's real exciting, you know, to actually set this up. I've been working with Corey over at Sparrow Art Center, or wait, am I getting the name wrong? It's Sparrow. I'm just, anyways, I think that's right. Art Center. Anyways, it's not the Art Center. It's, anyways, I'm getting lost. But yeah, it's really exciting. Yeah, a lot of changes are about to happen. I don't want to get into all of them right now, but I'll be sharing more in due time. But yeah, a lot of changes are on the horizon. Corey says your course starts on my B day, so you know I like the 22 numbers. 220, very fair. I hope I can be free to do it. Oh, that'd be amazing, Corey. Absolutely. And yeah, I think the price is thank you. I'm glad you think it's a good price too. Um, you know, I was you know, you don't want to overprice it and underprice it and so on. You know how it is. But I will record the sessions. So you know, in case someone can't make one of them, you know, that way they can at least see the recording. So I do plan on doing that. You haven't touched oil paint in 3 weeks from too much other work. So excited to get back to it. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. I wish you know, I wish you get all the time that you need to paint, which would be all the time in the world, I know. But you know what I'm saying. I'm glad you can get back to it. I know what it's like to take a break, and it can be even just a short break for the convention, which like got me really jazzed up. It's still it was still you know, it was still like a week and a half of not painting, and that just felt weird. So yeah, did you say it was 3 months? Oh, 3 weeks. Okay, 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks. It still feels like a lot. I I get like if I absolutely can't draw or paint or do anything, like for whatever reason, you know, I can't do any of those things, I start getting real cranky. Like I just can't help it. It affects my mood a lot. So yeah, I don't like I have to be able to draw at least like at least sketch and mess around. Michelle says, yes, he's adorable. He absolutely gets cranky unless he's able to do art throughout the week. Yeah, absolutely. I get real cranky. I can't. I don't know. It's just I yeah. I need to do this. Like I can't not do it. If I can't do it for too long, I start to lose my mind. Same. Yeah, Corey. Same. Yeah. Yeah, when I was in the military service, I it did not that did not agree with me. But I'm not suited for any military service. I'm a night owl. I hate waking up in the morning. Hate being told what to do. I'm not built for the military. Corey says my job is animation and making digital art, but it is not the same at all. My wife is like, all you do is art for clients. Haha. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what I do throughout the week too. I do storyboards and yeah, same thing. Corey said all I want is art for me. Uh, is art for me. Haha. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I started getting into oil painting again. I've been working in animation and before that comic books and like you know what it's like. You're working for other people and you know, it's just not the same thing. It's not, it's just not the same thing. There's no getting around that. And so um I started doing I started getting into, like what I would consider fine art, painting and everything. And that's how I got into oils. And then it took a while for oil paintings to click, for oil paints specifically to click. But there was like this moment where I was working on a painting and I was just able to get the paint to finally just do what I wanted it to do. Because I could at that point like paint digitally so much better than I could paint in oils. And because I've been doing conventions and tables and all this stuff. Like I'm not, I'm not trying to show off. I'm just saying like I was completely new in oils, but already working in digital. But like I just could not get the oils to do what I wanted it to. And then one finally like something clicked and it just kind of started doing what I wanted it to. Not saying all the time without any like mistakes ever, but like something clicked. And as soon as that happened, that was it. It was like, I don't know why I'm even using gouache or anything else. It's all oil paint, like all the time. And it made such a difference. Yeah, Donley. That's what it was. And part of that like click that happened for me was I was actually I remember the painting I was working on. I was doing a portrait of Luke Skywalker. I don't have it anymore. A friend of mine bought it from me because they liked it so much. And I was working on it and it was like it was happening, it was coming together, but then I messed something up on the hair and I ended up wiping like that whole corner out and repainting it. And so that's where my motto of like no fear comes from, because just to not be afraid of doing that kind of stuff. That's where that stems from. But yeah, it just, and that was it. Once that one clicked, it was like this moment. Like I that painting just, like I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's the best painting I ever did. It's not, but it just worked, and it that's it. Like there's no going back after that one. Corey says yes, yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think like obviously it can be different mediums for different people, but when you find, and it can change over time. We're not, we're we grow as people and change over time, so that's also cool. But yeah, if you find that medium, uh, anyone watching, if you find that medium, stick with it. Uh, absolutely, because that's something special in my mind. And be open to it changing in time, of course. But yeah, absolutely. Like just don't be like, well, I don't know. Like for some people, it's, I knew like at the convention, there were people who did, what is it? Pastels. And I don't really like pastels. I don't like working with them. It's not, I have nothing against them. You can do amazing stuff with them. I'm just saying, like, the thought of working with pastels is very unappealing to me. But if it sits with you and just is your thing, that's awesome. I do feel like oil paints are, um, I really do feel like oil paints are the most forgiving and easiest in some ways, and also, um, the broadest in some ways. Although, maybe acrylics might be broader in some ways, but like you can do on, there's so many styles you can do in oils. Corey says, all other mediums are practice for oils for me. Yeah. I love making the charcoal drawings and quick studies and pastels, but ultimately the final thing for me has to be oil. Yeah, no, I get that. I like gouache. Uh, for me, gouache is, there's some similarity to oil paints in gouache. It's gouache is a very good, to me, it's like if you can't do oils, mostly because of traveling, then gouache is a second, the alternative kind of thing. Um, but yeah, I really do think that I will be in the future, if I travel and paint anywhere, like I will be bringing oil paints and traveling with them. Uh, yeah, I think it is doable. There are some limitations, but I think I can easily live with those limitations. Um, Someone I know has developed the big problem is the wet paint, right? That's like the biggest problem with traveling with oil paints, is that they don't dry fast. That is definitely one of the biggest problems with them. But yeah, I feel that way. Like the final has to be in oils. The funny thing is, like at this point, I prefer to draw in oil paints as well. So I don't even like to sketch that much at this point. I guess I kind of sketch all day though, too. So there's that. You do need to, Corey says I need to try out gouache. I agree. Pricey from what I remember, but I love how flat it is, how matte, and flat gouaches looks very nice. Yeah, the some of the big problems. Yeah, I agree. First of all, yes, I love how like they have that like velvet matte look. That's so cool. Um, they are pricey, although there are ways you can make it cheaper. But there's definitely some drawbacks with gouache. Um, yeah, there definitely have some there's some issues with gouache that can be very frustrating to deal with. Um, for instance, if you tried with gouache, if you tried to, let's say, put down a flat color, just a straight up flat color, right? If you didn't mix enough of said flat color and you have to mix more of it, you will never match it. I think what's his name? I think someone like what is his name? Oh my God, I'm blanking on his name. He's famous painter who does gouache a lot. The Dinotopia guy. Oh my God, I'm blanking on his name. I can't believe it. Um, anyways, when I remember his name, I'll tell you. But he could maybe match it. Every other like mortal out there will probably not successfully match the color because it's just once it dries, there's a bit of color shift that happens, and it's almost impossible to match. That part I found extremely frustrating. But other than that, it's not like they're it's not very good at like how can I put this? Like the smoothness that you can get in oil paints, it can't. It's more like patchy, or I guess one I've heard it described as tiles, like you lay down tiles of color next to each other kind of thing. So it's not so much like smooth, like if you needed to draw a ball, you wouldn't do it it wouldn't look very smooth. But yeah. I don't know if I'm making sense entirely. But yeah. But it's still very capable, don't get me wrong. It's very, very capable. And there are definitely people that can make get around all those issues that it might have and can do anything they want. James Gurney, that's it. James Gurney. That's yeah. He is, you know, amazing. Like, you know, there's that's it. Like he is amazing. And end of sentence. So yeah, his control over gouache and casein and everything is just you know, astonishing. Most people don't have that level of control and experience with it to know like exactly how much darker or lighter it will dry and how, you know, all of that stuff. Yeah. Corey says it's very graphic, not great blending going on. But that's the cool look. That sort of posterized graphic look. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just one of those things where you have to know what to expect. And if as long as you know what to expect, it's great, you know. Although, like I said, there's always people that can manipulate things in a way that you don't expect. I remember I've told this story before. I was looking at this I think it may have been FX, the like the painting magazine, but I don't remember. It was like a collection of fantasy art, and there was this one artist that did these big fantasy paintings. very complex, like forests and everything. And I looked at it and it's like, it's gorgeous. I wish I remember this person's name. It's years ago. I will never find their name, but so, so good. And I thought it was oil paint or something, and it was watercolor. And it had none of the watercolor edges. You know, the like the hard edges or the blooms or the none of that. He controlled the paint so well that you could not see any of that. I don't know how. I don't know how. It seems insane to me. Let's see. Corey says, oh, talking about James Gurney, his gouache paintings got very hyped to try it years ago. Oh, I think got me very hyped to try it years ago. Yes, he's so good. Yeah, he is ridiculously good. James Gurney is, you know, there are very few people who are as good as James Gurney. He's like at that level. Yeah, James Gurney, I don't, he used to have a really good YouTube channel and an even better blog. Um, but I think he moved everything over to Substack. So you have to subscribe through that now. I don't know how that's going for him. I don't know if artists are really the like, if it's either Substack or Medium or something, and I don't know how many artists are subscribing to him now, but he's so good. Okay, I have to put out more yellow. Uh, so kind of keeping a little with the theme of my workshop, the no fear thing. I remember there's this one video that James Gurney has. I don't know if he still has it on his YouTube channel, but he went to a plein air convention, and he brought his little, he has his little sketch, not sketchbook, but it's, his little, I guess technically painting book. It's a like watercolor paper. It's what he uses to do his plein air paintings, right? So he has that with him, but turns out that he all the pages are full. He filled it up and thought he had more pages, didn't realize it. And he's at the plein air convention, so he just takes, someone kills me. He takes his book, finds a portrait that he did that he didn't like that much. And because it's gouache, he just washes it right off the page. Just takes a bottle of water and just like puts some water on it and then wipes it off, just washes it away. And then he goes on to paint a really great um, plein air painting of all the people painting. He painted the artists who are painting outside. And he did such a good job with it too. But yeah, he did it like it was nothing, like zero concern at all. And I feel like that's something that there's a lot. I mean, not every artist. There's some artists that hold on to every painting or think every painting's, like they would never do something like that. But I know so many artists that would, right? Like so many professional artists who would totally do that. They wouldn't like without a doubt, without any like hesitation. Um, so I don't I don't know exactly what that means or what that tells you, but I feel like part of it is that, just not being not treating your paintings too preciously until treating the ones that you collect preciously, but your own, there's a degree of like, yeah, it's not precious until it's someone else's almost. Um, or until they're finished, maybe. I don't know. But I know that when I go into a painting, even on sketchbook, even with sketchbooks, I have a tendency like if I'm like I've never I have never drawn or painted a good drawing on the first page of a sketchbook ever because I'm always too concerned that it's the first page, it has to be good. And so it never is, right? So I think that mentality is a big part of it. Same thing. I've also had that same thing with like expensive supplies. I don't know if any of you have ever done this, but have you ever worked with like expensive supplies and cheap supplies? And for some reason, you always do a better job on the cheap supplies, even though the expensive supplies are better. I don't know about you. I've had that experience in the past. Not so much anymore, I'll be honest. That doesn't happen to me as much anymore, but I definitely used to have that experience all the time. Only says maybe you subliminally felt pressured when using the good supplies and it distracted you. Absolutely. Not even subliminally. Like very much front of mind, could not calm down and could not you know, not think about it. Absolutely. 100%. It's that like you that pressure like it has to be good. It has to be good, like that type of thing. That doesn't I don't feel like that helps you do good artwork, generally speaking. Although sometimes the pressure to perform can help under certain circumstances, but yeah, that I don't feel like that helps that much. That's why I used to, when I was younger too, I would never draw in a sketchbook. Even though I had sketchbooks, I would almost never draw in them, and I preferred like printer paper because it was cheap and I could throw it away and you wouldn't see, you wouldn't see the final if you know, if I didn't like it. Having said that, I actually kept a lot of my old artwork from art school, and I do plan on making a video about that because I think it's worth showing. And I'm really not ashamed of anything I did in the past anymore, because whatever. Uh, Now that I'm back from the convention, I need to obviously I've got a lot. Okay, I'm not going to get into everything going on because we'll talk about it, but I'll tell people and everything as it comes. But one of the things I do need to do is wish list. Um, I need to get back to his stuff when I can because his artwork is so cool. I'm really looking forward to making some like shorts out of it for everybody so that, everyone can enjoy it because his art is so good. Wow. Okay then. My brain. Thanks, brain. All right, now I got it. For a second, I was so distracted by mixing the colors. I came back and I'm like, I forgot what I was mixing these colors for. I got it. I got it. It came back to me. But before a second there. There was at the at Portrait Society, there was a presenter who used he used a palette similar to mine for a painting for a demo. It's not his normal palette, but he wanted it, that's what the subject was about. Um, but one of the things I thought was interesting is he used another color in addition, which was a I have it written down. I think it's a uh, transparent yellow oxide, something like that. And his reasoning for using that was the model was a black lady, and so obviously she has very dark skin. She's a really great model, by the way. I'm actually going to be painting her. I talked to her. I can't remember her name because I'm stupid with names, but I will share her Instagram when I do a painting of her. Um, and so to get the darker yellows of her skin, he wanted that like deeper yellow oxide paint. And I'm so curious now because I have painted uh, all kinds of things without that. Now I'm so curious. Is this a color I need? I mean, obviously I don't need it, but will this add? I don't know. I always like paint, so I'm excited. I'm excited to try it. You know, I just want new paint, I guess. Even if I don't need it, like there's all kinds of paints I want to buy that I know I'll probably never use, but I still want to try them out. You never know, right? Maybe I'll find a ton of uses for dioxazine purple if I bought it. I don't know what I'd use it for, but like such a pretty purple. I mean, I can mix pretty purples already, but like such a pretty purple. Yes, Donley, exactly. My happy painting dance. I've been watching a lot of videos on photography lately, uh, and there's a term for it in photography where people just like are obsessed with new gear all the time. Forget what it's called, but I feel like painters have that as well, right? Like we all want to buy the paint that the people we love, or the artists that whatever artists we admire, and we're like, if I get that paint because they use that paint, I'll be as good as them. It's not how that works, of course, but there's this part of our brain that's really stupid. And it's like, maybe it is, though, right? Like, maybe it's not, but maybe. Donley says photography gets real expensive real quick with that equipment lust. Yeah, it's Jeff. Hey, Jeff, welcome. The portrait is looking amazing. Thank you. Appreciate that. How are you doing today, Jeff? And if I'm getting your name wrong because there's a E after the F, please let me know if it's pronounced differently. I apologize. I'm bad with names. I say that all the time because it's true. I'm bad with names. I'm also dyslexic, so I'm bad with, writing and reading, so. Doing well, just getting ready to do a little painting myself. Oh, nice. Donley says, got alerts, please carry on. Okay, we'll do. The name is Jeff, so that works. All right, awesome, Jeff. What are you painting? What are you working on? What kind? Have I seen your paintings before? By the way, anybody watching, literally anybody watching, if you paint and you're an artist and you want to show me, you want to share your work with me, by all means, the best place to do that is the Discord because I will definitely see it on the Discord. But if you can't post on the Discord or you're not keen to join a Discord, feel free to tag me on Instagram, even if it's just in a comment or something, because I love seeing new artwork. Finishing up a stormtrooper. Nice. Think you've seen my Instagram before. I do tattoos as my main medium. Oh, sweet. Okay, very cool. I'm so bad with names, but very, very cool. I do follow quite a few tattoo artists that are oil painters, so there's a good chance. Uh, yeah, but yeah, that's cool. A friend of mine keeps telling me I should become a tattoo artist. I don't think I ever will, but he keeps telling me I should. I think he just wants free tattoos, honestly. But it's been a while, LOL. Yeah, that's fair. You know what? I hate it. I've missed so many like big things with people on Instagram because like, they changed their algorithm and now it just doesn't show me the stuff I want to see. So that happens too. Jeff says, I love it, but it's so much different than painting. It goes back to that thing you were talking about earlier. Most of the time, you're just stuck doing what people want me to do. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that is tough. And you know, even I mean right now I'm doing storyboards, so that's kind of like that's my job and that's where I make, my income. Um But when I transition into full-time oil painter, like I'm probably going to be taking commissions, and then it is going to be that thing where you're doing stuff for other people. Um, but I still want to do that. You'll catch yourself sometimes, ready to finish up your tattoos so you can get home and paint. Yeah, I get that. That's why I say a lot of times, like, some people, it's better to keep your art a hobby, so to speak, than it is to turn it into a profession because turning it into your income can really hurt your kind of, love for it, um, sometimes, unfortunately. Ah, your tattoo page. Cool. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, I'm following you. Yep, I'm already following you. Oh, your stuff's so good. Corey says kindred spirits here. Absolutely. Absolutely. That was one of the things that stood out to me at the painting, at the Portrait Society. Obviously, this is, it's not, nothing's 100%. It's not going to apply to every single person, but that feeling of like, oh yeah, these are all like my type of people. You know what I mean? Like so many of us were kindred spirits in some way. Even if like there was a I didn't know this going in, but there's a big group of people from Utah, and there's a big connection to the Mormon Church um, because they hire a lot of artists to do paintings of religious stuff, and then there's also what's it called? Um, there's a lot of people connected to like people in higher positions and old money and stuff like that. So there's a lot more. I'll say like what I consider kind of conservative people at the Portrait Society. A lot more than I normally associate with like rebel artists because I come from like comic books and like a comic book artist will be. Um, And but my point is, even with those people, there's a kindred spirit aspect to it because it's like, yeah, regardless, we all love to paint. Like there isn't a single person there who, isn't who is like, yeah, I don't like painting. Not a single one. So that was a unique experience. It reminded me very much of like Comic-Con before, well, before Comic-Con became so. Well, maybe not Comic Con. Let's say other comic book conventions, where there's a lot more artists and a lot more, uh, you know, actual like, uh, you know, comic book stuff, not just like TV and stuff like that. But yeah, that part was absolutely great. That was really a big part of it. Oh yeah, if you're on YouTube, I shared Jeff's tattoo page. His stuff's really good. I wish I wish I lived closer. One day I'll get a tattoo. I have zero tattoos at the moment, and I want to get some, but I'm very indecisive and cheap. You gotta run. Gotta get your art on. No problem. Have a good night, and good luck with your painting. Oh, nice, Des. Or he says, went an 8 and came back, and you have nice lost edges in the hair now. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Love the cooler gray background. And now also on our hand, really coming along. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I always wish it was going faster, but I always try and remind myself that, on stream, it's a different speed on stream than it is off stream. But yeah, um, definitely try to avoid having it be like monochrome. It's so easy to fall into the trap of making a portrait practically monochrome because we are, you know, like you can make everything gray and brown practically and it like works, but uh that doesn't make for an interesting painting necessarily, but it will work, right? So it's always a challenge. That's what I love about painting. It's always a challenge. Literally, I think that might be my favorite thing about painting. When it comes to what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, reflected lights in shadows, right? Um, when it comes to reflected lights that are in shadows, they should never be lighter than like any of the things in the light area, because if it was, then it would be, it wouldn't be in the shadow, it would then be a light area, right? That's something I always try and keep in mind. But what I was going to say is one of the tricks to kind of being able to lighten up the reflected light in the shadow and still keep it dark is you can play with saturation. And so that is, you know, shadows often are very gray or desaturated colors. But for those reflected lights, you can pump up the saturation, and even though it might be the same value, it tricks our brains because uh, um, our brains associate like um, what's it called? Intensity of color or saturation rather. Our brains associate that with usually usually lighter. Not always, but usually lighter. Some exceptions there, but yeah. That's one thing in painting that I think is funny, how it's like, here is the rule, and that rule applies usually. there, there's almost no rules that you can like be like, and this always is true. The funny thing is, and I purposefully tried not to talk about this subject that much because like I think it can be disruptive and it's just annoying. But I'm going to mention AI briefly because I think with AI coming into play, um, I think that a lot of the conventions that are very common, um, I do think that people are going to start breaking those way more. And I don't mean the AI people, I mean artists are going to, because AI has such a reliance on like what is very common, what everybody does, what is the norms. And I suspect that as a way of rebelling against that, because that's what artists do, um, there's going to be a lot of artists who are going to start doing like a lot more. Like, I think honestly, the place you'll see it the most, I suspect, is going to be in composition. I think like what is conventionally considered like attractive compositions are going to start getting really messed up. Um, yeah, I could be wrong. This is totally just speculation, but yeah. I know personally, I've always appreciated kind of wonky compositions. I mean, this one's very straightforward, but like one of the one of the paintings I did in my art class with uh, Jennifer Balkin, I painted the model and I cut her head off right before her eyes, like right here, which is really generally a no-no. But it was intentional. It was a choice. Um, yeah. Where it says comic book framing applied to oils. Oh yeah, absolutely. When I was in art school, I knew a guy who was insane. Um, and I say that because he was doing a whole ass comic book in oil paints. Um, which is kind of crazy. Although, you know what? It's not as I don't think of it as crazy today as I used to because now that I paint in oils, I'm like if I had to do a comic book today, I probably would want to do it in oils just because I'd rather if I have to spend that much amount of time drawing and painting, I would rather do it in oils than like digital, you know. You like it, go for it, no fear. Absolutely. Absolutely. If that's what you want to do, absolutely. I don't think I'm going to be doing a comic book anytime soon, though. But having said that, I might be doing some, I might do some more comic book style or influenced artwork. I do have that background, and I really haven't like brought that into my oil paints, but it might be fun to do some superheroes or some anime characters in oils. That might be a lot of fun. Corey says graphic novels normalize some of that, uh, but for a comic book, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's definitely a lot of work, you know. I feel like if I did it, I would definitely be, how can I put this? If I was doing a comic book in oil paints, let's just say that the backgrounds aren't going to be the most detailed. You know what I mean? Like, well, let's be honest, probably not. One of my favorite, okay, I say favorite, but like I only know him from one comic book, honestly. I've seen his stuff some other places and it was good, but like really I just love his one book and then I think the rest of his work he probably had way more like had to be way more conventional, but there's this artist, I'm trying to remember his name. Oh, God, I'm forgetting his name. It's something the third, and he did the artwork for Desolation Jones, the first one. My understanding is there's a second one. Yeah, he did the artwork for the first one, um, and it's so good, such a good. I think it's technically a trade paperback, not a graphic novel. But yeah, so good. And he got to do all these really cool art stuff and like watercolors and like all these really cool mixtures of mediums and yeah, so good. Corey says Robots and Zombies has some sick oil paintings in it. Really? I have to check that out. What's it called? Hush, the Batman graphic, I guess trade paperback technically, with Jim Lee. Now, Jim Lee is a fantastic comic book artist. No one's going to disagree with me on that. Um, but on Hush, he did some like watercolors and stuff like that, which to me just like really took it to a new level. But yeah, I know. Coming out with this with the hot take, Jim Lee's a fantastic comic book artist. I know, very hot take. I know. But yeah, those watercolors that he did just really elevated Hush, in my opinion. Of course, you know, there's always Alex Ross, like, obviously. I feel like we almost take him for granted at this point because everybody knows him and he's so good. But yeah, Alex Ross. But yeah, if you're not opposed to violence and drug use and other stuff like that, um, check out Check out Desolation Jones. I know most people are not opposed to those things, at least the people watching me, which might say something about me, but whatever. Yeah, Desolation Jones was a fun book. Yeah, I'll have to check out Robots and Zombies. I'm mostly repeating myself for me, so it's like trying to tell my brain to remember something because it normally won't remember anything. Zombies versus robots had it switched. Okay, good to know. Thank you. I'll check it out. Sounds familiar. So it's a good chat. Someone's told me about this before. All right. Let's see. Okay. We've got a little bit of time. Let's see. Corey says your reference for this photo you took at the event. Yes, I did. The artist, Julia, she was being painted by other people. Um, and I took photos of them painting her, which I shared on my stories, and she then reshared. And but I asked permission when what's it called? When I was taking the photos, if I could, you know, if I could paint her later on. Even though I assumed the answer was going to be yes, it's always good to always good to ask. Yeah, people artists were, kind of crazy. They'd stay up very late and like just do painting sessions late at night after the convention, after like hours of the convention. So yeah, the artist who one of the artists who was painting her was one of the presenters there, and she had a portable light box with her. So she actually set up a like an portable LED like light box to for it. So yeah, this had good lighting. Maybe you're making the lighting good through painting. I am in I think I'm improving it a little because there's a degree of flatness that happened in certain areas that I think I'm improving it. But it was it was relatively speaking good lighting compared to other convention paintings that were done in horrible lighting. And some of them were done in lighting so bad you're like, I cannot distinguish colors because this light bulb is incapable of distinguishing these colors for me. So while I would love to take all the credit, I cannot. I'm probably going to have to end, unfortunately, relatively soon. I feel like I can feel my attention kind of slipping, and I'm like, I don't want to make a ton of mistakes that I'm going to have to then go back and fix later. Not so much that I'm afraid of making the mistakes as much as I just don't feel like having to go back and fix them later. Like, I feel like that was already a mistake. That's like not the value, but the color is wrong. I will say sometimes I advocate having black on your palette. I think black's a great color to have on your palette. Having said that, you have to be careful with it because sometimes it can stick out like a sore thumb if you're not careful. That's a little too light. Darken up some of that. I do like the reflected light though. All right. I think I'm gonna have to call it a night. I can feel my attention just like my focus just constantly like just not being where I need it to be for some of this. he says as he goes back to painting. I know. I always have a hard time ending, but yeah, I can definitely feel my attention kind of fraying a little. So I want to say thank you to everybody for stopping by. I really appreciate everyone who did stop by. As a quick reminder, I do have a new workshop coming out on June 22nd. It's a live workshop, so you have to sign up for it. It's on expressive painting and painting without fear of messing up and how to deal with all of that. Yeah, yeah, there's a link on the description to my website, and it's right there. Anyways, everyone who stopped by, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. I do really enjoy the company. Makes streaming so much more fun. And I will be back on Thursday. Other than that, I'm not sure. Oh, go check out Julia. She's a great painter. She's who I'm painting right now, and she's fantastic. Highly recommend her paintings and her artwork. But yeah, I don't really know what I'm saying anymore. I'm really out of it. So I'll be back on Thursday, and I'll be back. If you can't catch me Thursday, I'll be back on Sunday because I stream Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. There we go. My brain eventually got it out. See you Thursday for stream. Thanks, Des. Thanks for always being here. I appreciate it. No, not always, but you know what I mean. Thanks for being here so much. I appreciate it. And oh yeah, I have a Discord if you want to join the Discord. It's a great way of keeping in touch. And if you want, I do some reviews and so on. Anyways, all right. Yeah. Okay. I need to go to sleep. All right. Thanks everyone. Have a good night.